Facebook. I am so happy to be here. It has been a couple weeks. We just could not get into Facebook and get on here and talk to you guys, but we're here now. You are watching What the Flip Live. I'm Christine Hartsill, and I'm with the sponsor of the show, REI Design Solutions. We are an investor-friendly interior design firm in Houston, Texas, and we are so glad you joined us today on What to Flip Live. We're going to talk about some fun things on this day of tricks or treats. This Halloween day, we are going to be talking about the case of the cursed kitchen. So stay tuned because we're going to get into the 5 curses that this kitchen experienced and why the investor had a really hard time selling this property. So before we get into it, let's talk a little bit about what we do at REI Design Solutions. So we provide, as I mentioned, investor-friendly design services. And the reason why I say investor-friendly is because there's a lot of interior designers out there who work with real estate investors, and they do a great job helping you guys get your fix and flip properties whipped into shape, designed well so that they will resell on the retail market. But what makes us different is that we are real estate investors ourselves. We've done some fix and flips, and we are also getting into rentals and probably Airbnbs, but we're still exploring that market. So we understand your numbers, we understand what you're looking for in just in terms of your business goals and what you're trying to achieve and the money you're trying to make and how, building your business. So that's what we do. We provide staging services. We also provide kitchen design. We help you select all of your finishes, your tile, your flooring, all that to make your property really stand out above the competition. And we also do kitchen design, and we have a line of cabinetry that we carry. So just in case you were wondering and kind of wasn't sure exactly what we do and how we do it, as a matter of fact, I am on location today at a property that we helped a real estate investor flip. So you can see behind me is the kitchen, and this kitchen is not cursed because we took really, we took extra pains to get this kitchen designed just right so that when people walk in here, they're going to be blown away. And so you can kind of see it in the background. We've also staged this property, and so we're super excited. The investor just put it on the market, so we're looking forward to seeing how quickly it will sell. Now, as we all know, there are other factors. I would love to be able to give people a money-back guarantee saying, oh, your house is just going to sell in 2 days. But there's other factors. The design is a big one. It's a big one, and that's you. If you've heard any of my Facebook Lives or read any of my blog posts or emails, you will know that we are all about making sure that the design is right on your flips, because if it's not, it will sit there because today's buyers are very design savvy. With that said, there's other factors that also contribute to whether your property is going to sell quickly or not. Obviously, the price, how well the rehab was done. If the design is great, but the rehab is kind of shoddy, the craftsmanship, then that's going to be a big red flag to potential buyers. And other things too, just what's going on in the market at that point in time. But our goal is always to make sure that at least the design is on point so that your property will stand out above the rest and will sell fast. So with that said, let's get into the 5 curses that now, I'm going to be referring to the cursed kitchen. And the reason why I used this particular kitchen, and I don't have pictures of it. I haven't quite figured out how to share my screen, and actually I'm doing it on location on a cell phone, so that's not an option. But I will probably be doing a blog post where I will be posting the pictures of this particular kitchen. The reason why this kitchen was cursed, and like I said, I'm going to get into the 5 curses, I believe was because they just simply didn't consider that they needed to get an expert in kitchen design involved. It never occurred to them, and if it did occur to them, they just blew it off. So With that said, let's talk about the first curse that this particular kitchen, and then I'll tell you why it was cursed, because this property sat on the market for, I think it was 5 or 6 months before it finally got an offer, and it was staged beautifully. We did the staging. It was, the rehab was done really, really well because it was done by a local contractor here in Houston who does wonderful rehabs. So that wasn't the problem. It was really the design, and that there's just no other way around it. This property was not designed well. And so this particular kitchen had 5 really blatant, in-your-face curses to it. And so we're going to get into those right now. So let's see here. I'm looking at my notes. So this is fairly unscripted. All right. So the first curse is 30-inch uppers and fur downs. Let me tell you, if you're rehabbing properties in the 300 plus ARV, you have got to get rid of the fur downs in the kitchen. You just have to. You can see this kitchen, there's no fur downs. You can have it open above, but do not leave those fur downs in there, because that screams old. It screams dated. It says to the home, to the potential buyer, we didn't care enough to really update this house. So get rid of the fur downs and don't put those squatty 30-inch uppers. These are 42-inch uppers, as you can see, and there's a little bit of room above them, and that's fine. Leave the soffit open. We call the soffit up north, but leave that space between the ceiling and the tops of the cabinets open. That's fine, but do not put 30-inch uppers and do not leave the fur downs in there. And it may seem odd, but when these homeowners are pinning pictures from the internet of their dream kitchens, I can guarantee you not one of them have 30-inch uppers or fur downs. And they're also considering storage. When they walk into a kitchen, they're going to be thinking about all the crap that they have in their current kitchen and how is it all going to fit. If you're only putting 30-inch uppers, it's going to be really apparent that not all their stuff is going to fit in those cabinets. Okay, so, and also just makes it look cheap. The squatty uppers just makes a kitchen look cheap. The second curse that you want to absolutely avoid is the lack of usable countertop space in your kitchen. There's many ways in which you can add countertop space. If you're rehabbing a house that just has a really, really tiny kitchen, call a professional kitchen designer. You've got to get somebody in there who can show you how to maximize that space, how to lay out your appliances and your plumbing fixtures in such a way that there's big chunks of usable countertop space. You've got to picture yourself in that kitchen and cooking in that kitchen, because that's what the potential buyer is going to do when they're doing a walkthrough, or even when they're on the MLS just looking at the pictures of that kitchen. They're going to be picturing themselves in the kitchen. And so you want to make sure that you're not placing appliances, like for example, you're not putting a range at the very end of a run with no countertop space to the right or left of it. You want to make sure that you are not putting a range and a dishwasher perpendicular to each other in a 90-degree corner and not leaving any room to maneuver in between those appliances when you're in. Sorry about that. The other thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is creating more countertop space as possible. Now, for example, this particular cursed kitchen that I referred to, the problem with this kitchen and why it didn't have a lot of usable countertop space was because they had actually taken a long wall in between the kitchen and the dining room, and they had put a huge opening in it. And what that did was that made it look, kind of give it that open concept, but it ate into the potential wall space for cabinets and countertops. Never let an open space concept take precedence over a lot of countertop and cabinet space in the kitchen. There was a way that they could have done that. They could have made the opening quite a bit smaller and it would still have been very open into the dining room. But unfortunately, they took up way too much of the potential countertop space for this opening. Oh, it's really raining now. We're having a big storm. Is everybody else having a big storm today too? Okay, so that was curse number 2. Curse number 3 is creating a poor working layout. So a lot of the properties that you're rehabbing probably already had a poor working layout, especially in the older homes. And so it is your job to really get in there and really create, it's also called a working triangle. Really create a good working triangle with your sink in one place, your refrigerator in the other, and your range. So that in between each of those areas, you don't have obstacles in the way, number one, and that you have plenty of room to move in between all 3 of those areas, the sink, the refrigerator, and the range. So you want to make sure that you improve that working layout, because that is going to be something that that potential buyer is definitely going to be considering when they're looking at your property. Curse number 2 is the oddly placed or missing island or peninsula. So I say that because this particular kitchen that I'm referencing, the cursed kitchen, it was a pretty good sized kitchen. It had some angled walls. It had 3 walls, and they were all at a kind of a 45-degree angle from one another. And then this big open space in the middle of the kitchen. That space allowed for plenty of room for an island, and yet they just completely left the island out. And I'm not sure why. My only guess is that they were either trying to save money, or they simply didn't have the design savvy to say, hey, we need to put an island in here. Because the 3 small walls that did have cabinetry on it were just not sufficient. There was not enough cabinetry and countertop space on those 3 walls. And storage space. They definitely needed to add that island. So always be considering, when you're in that kitchen space, can we add some extra storage somewhere, whether it's an island or whether we come out with a small peninsula or what have you. But again, always making sure that you're leaving plenty of room for the flow and walking through that kitchen. So curse number 4 is the oddly placed or missing island. Curse number 5, the final curse, and this one is a pretty big deal. This one is, again, it's going to be a big red flag for potential buyers, and that is using cheap appliances and micro hoods. Again, you can do that in your 200 ARV and lower rentals all day long. I don't care. Do what you want. But if you're going to be flipping a property that's $300,000 or more, you've got to leave that micro hood out of the equation. You're going to have to put a microwave into another cabinet, and we can get into that down the road. Well, where I'll be talking a lot more about kitchen design in the future. But you really want to stay away from putting the micro hood over the range. And the second thing is, do not cheap out on your appliances. Now, do you have to put a $6,000 Wolf in your kitchen? Absolutely not. Unless, of course, you're rehabbing 2 $3 million homes. That's going to be a mandatory. But at least if you're going to use a fairly inexpensive appliance, try and shop around for ones that have a little bit higher end look. And I always recommend gas. People just really love cooking with gas. So if you have gas in the property, great, you're already set. If you don't, look, maybe price it out and see how much more it would be to put gas in. So you're going to want to either do a slide-in range. You absolutely do not put a freestanding range in your kitchen. And unfortunately, the cursed kitchen had a freestanding range and a micro hood. And the ARV for this particular property, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was between 4 and 6. I know that's a big gap. I can't remember offhand, but I know it was more than 400,000 ARV. So again, that is a big no-no. Do not cheap out on the appliances in this. In these kitchens. And that's really, if you avoid those 5 curses, and let me go through them for you one more time. The first curse, here we go, trying to find my notes here. Again, the first curse being the using the 30-inch uppers and leaving the fur downs is an absolute no-no. You will curse your kitchen if you do that. The second curse is lack of usable countertop space. Make sure you're getting as much countertop and cabinets. Usually they equate one to another. Usable countertop and cabinet space in your property. And curse number 3 is a poor working layout. Make sure that you're not squishing your appliances all together or having obstacles in between them. This cursed kitchen had the refrigerator way on the other side of the kitchen, and it wasn't anywhere close to the other 2 appliances and sink, the range and the sink like we talked about. So curse number 3 is the poor working layout. And curse number 4 is the oddly placed or missing island. You've got to make sure that if you're gonna put extra countertop space in there, look and find out if you can do it with an island. And if you do an island in there, don't put it in a weird place, and make sure there's plenty of walk flow around that island. And curse number 5, the final curse, is don't cheap out on your appliances, and please, 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 no micro hoods. So that is it for today. I really hope that you learned a lot from this What the Flip Live. And we're here for you at REI Design Solutions. I've posted in the original post our website. Our phone number is 713-984-8097. And you can email me at Christine@reidesignsolutions.com. Let me know how we can help you. I hope you enjoyed this. I promise you, if you avoid these 5 curses, these 5 mistakes in your kitchen design, you will have super spiffy kitchens and you will sell your property much, much faster. So thank you for joining me today. Have an awesome day, and to your success.